Hello friends, welcome to my channel A to Z Banking and Technology. And today we are going to discuss the very interesting topic, the onward lending and how it is different from the retail lending. So more or less this topic will be covered the onward lending processes, what the key parameters we should check whenever we are funding to any MFI, NBFC or as a lender to any bank or NBFC. So let's start the topic. First of all, we need to understand what is the onward lending. So I'll start from here. Let me select my pen first. So onward lending is a refer to the practice where a financial institution such as a bank or wholesale lender or any financial institutions which offers to loans to non-banking financial sectors or MFIs or any NBFCs which are directly lending to retail customers. Okay, so if you go by the narration, these are the intermediaries in turn disburse loans to their end users. So in simple words, if we understand, so onward lending is a process where any bank or NBFC further lend to any bank or NBFC those who are directly funding to end users and customers. So ultimately the purpose of onward lending is to provide funds to any bank or NBFC. Those are further providing to bank loans to end users. Let's understand onward lending by an example. For example, SBI, which is a national bank and national government bank, they are offering, for example, 10 crore to any NBFC or microfinance company. So these NBFC and microfinance company directly offering to the direct customer or end user customers. So what they will do is they will further lend it in a retail segment, retail lending. Let's say example 1 lakh loan to each customer. In terms of personal loan हो सकता है या हाउसिंग लोन हो सकता है. हाउसिंग लोन जनरली बिग टिकट के लिए होता है, बट लेट्स से क्या है, पर्सनल लोन हो गया, बिजनेस लोन हो गया या फिर कोई टू व्हीलर लोन हो गया, ऑटो लोन हो गया, ऐसा टाइप का लोन दैट एनबी इज ऑफरिंग टू रिटेल कस्टमर. सो इस 10 करोड़ के अमाउंट को जब वो रिटेल कस्टमर को लैंड करेगा, सो अप्रोक्स 100 कस्टमर जो है वो इस अमाउंट से वो क्रिएट कर सकता है. अब ये जो रेट है दैट रेट विल बी डिपेंडिंग ऑन द प्रोडक्ट के कौन सा प्रोडक्ट ऑफर कर रहा है. अगर वो पर्सनल लोन ऑफर करता है तो दैट विल स्टार्ट फ्रॉम द 16% टू 24% तक के बीच का हो सकता है. अगर हाउस ऑटो लोन कर रहा है तो ऑटो लोन वो 12% से 18% के बीच का हो सकता है. डिपेंड ऑन द प्रोडक्ट के व्हाट प्रोडक्ट दे आर दैट एनबीएफसी इज ऑफरिंग. बट पॉइंट इज के एनबीएफसी को प्रॉफिट क्या है यहाँ से लेने पे. एनबीएफसी को प्रॉफिट ये है कि जो एसबीआई से रिटेल लोन लेगा दैट एसबीआई से जो कॉर्पोरेट लोन लेगा दैट कॉर्पोरेट लोन विल बी कम अराउंड 10 to 11% or maybe below than that. So when he is taking any loan at a 10% ROI and offering to the retail customer around 18 to 20% on average rate of interest, so there will be a marginal spread. So marginal spread in that will be around 10%. Let's say if he's taken loan at 10% and further lended to retail customer at 20%, so there will be a marginal profit of 10%. So it's not the net profit. So to generate the net profit, he need to send some operating expenses which we called OPEX. So OPEX में इसमें क्या रहेगा, उसका जो सैलरी का एक्सपेंस है एम्प्लॉय का वो होगा, रेंटल इंपेक्स होगा, ब्रांच की कॉस्ट होगी. सो अज्यूमिंग के इसमें से अप्रोक्स 4 to 5% जो है दैट विल बी द ओपेक्स कॉस्ट. सो ओपेक्स कॉस्ट इसको हटाने के बाद आपका कुछ 5% के आसपास का प्रॉफिट इसमें से अभी फर्दर लैंड में है. बट इट्स नॉट द प्योरली प्रॉफिट. इन दैट यू नीड टू ऑल्सो राइट ऑफ को भी कंसिडर करना पड़ेगा. जो लोन एनपीएज होंगे वो कंसिडर करने पड़ेंगे और अदर फर्दर एक्सपेंसेस भी हो सकते हैं, टैक्सेस भी हो सकते हैं. सो रिमूविंग दैट अराउंड 2%, so it will become around 3% is NIM. So net interest margin, income margin, so which we call NIM. तो गाइस दिस इज द ऑनवर्ड लैंडिंग, ये ऐसे वर्क करता है. लेट्स गो बाय द रिटेल लैंडिंग ऑल्सो. कि रिटेल लैंडिंग क्या होता है. सो रिटेल लैंडिंग वही है जिसमें एनी एनबीएफसी हो गया या फिर एमएफआई हो गया या हाउसिंग कंपनी हो गया, जो भी लैंडिंग इंस्टीट्यूशंस हैं वो अपने रिटेल कस्टमर को डायरेक्टली इंडिविजुअल कस्टमर्स को लोन देता है, जहाँ पे उनके बिजनेस के लिए हो सकता है या फिर उसके पर्सनल नीड्स के लिए हो सकता है. तो उस चीज को हम रिटेल लैंडिंग में काउंट करते हैं. रिटेल लैंडिंग में कौन कौन से प्रोडक्ट होते हैं. सो रिटेल लैंडिंग में बेसिकली होता है आपका पर्सनल लोन, बिजनेस लोन, आपका हाउसिंग लोन, लोन अगेंस्ट प्रॉपर्टी, और आपके टू व्हीलर, ऑटो लोन, कार व्हीलर, सीवी, ये सारे लोन जो आपके रिटेल लोन में कंसिडर होते हैं। इसके जो टारगेट कस्टमर है, वो टारगेट कस्टमर इंडिविजुअल बोरोवर्स होते हैं, स्मॉल बिजनेस ओनरशिप होते हैं, या फिर वो अपने घर के एक्सपेंस के लिए या पर्सनल यूज के लिए उसे ले रहे होते हैं। तो ये हमारे रिटेल सेगमेंट के कस्टमर होते हैं। बट अगर हम बात करें ऑनवर्ड लेंडिंग के, तो ऑनवर्ड लेंडिंग में हमारा कस्टमर कौन होता है? तो ऑनवर्ड लेंडिंग में अगर आप देखेंगे तो ऑनवर्ड लेंडिंग के कस्टमर जो है बेसिकली कौन है? जो बे सो ऑनवर्ड लेंडिंग के कस्टमर जो है वो बेसिकली एनबीएफसीज हैं, एमएफआई है, माइक्रो फाइनेंस इंस्टीट्यूशंस है, हाउसिंग फाइनेंस कंपनीज हैं। So let's also understand what is the major difference between the onward lending and the retail lending. So, on the very first difference is the customer base. So, generally in onward lending, financial institutions, microfinance companies, or NBFC are the customer base. But in the retail segment, you will find individual customers, small business shopkeepers, owners, or end users who are utilizing the funds. So, that's the major difference between these two products. So let's go by the loan size. If you see in the onward lending, the target loan size is very high. I mean, it will start from the 5 crore to 10 crore or up to 200, 300, 400 crores also. But in the retail segment, it will start from the 50,000 to up to 5 crore or 10 crore something. So that's the lending segment size difference. I mean, loan amount difference. Also understand the purpose. So the purpose is very different in the onward lending. Onward lending में जो purpose है, that is to provide the loans to intermediaries like who are providing further to the customer. But in the retail lending, the NBFC and MFIs are directly funding to the retail end users who will utilize the money and solve their purposes. So purposes can be anything like their personal loan, business loan requirement, their household expenses, their marriages, their business working capital loan requirement. They wanted to construct the house. So that kind of purpose in the retail loan. But in the onward loan lending, the purpose is only one, that is to provide loan to bank and NBFC to those who are further giving loan to end users. So credit risk. So in onward lending, credit risk is majorly depend on the banks and NBFC, and that is much more safer because generally banks and NBFC don't default in their repayment of loans until there is a unnecessary, I mean, unavoidable situation or any mishappening happen in the economy. But in the retail lending, depend on the profile and depend on the individual's repayment capacity and worthiness, and product also varies in that. If in case you have funded, if you have lended a business loan, unsecured business loan, then chances of default is very high. But if you have funded secured loan against their property and against their any say any movable or immovable collateral, then the chances of default is bit low. So let's go by the repayment. So repayment in the onward lending, intermediary repay their overall collections. I mean, their repayment is happen from the end users recovery, and in retail lending, borrowers are directly paying to borrowers repay directly from their income. But in the onward lending, repayment happens from the collections, which collections has been done from their individual borrowers. So in that we called it collection efficiency. Also, we need to check it on the onward lending whenever we are funding to any bank and MC. What is their collection efficiency? And here in repayment capacity, we need to check their income repayment capacity. I mean, how much income calculation they have, how much income flow they have, what is the repayment capacity, that we need to check in the retail lending. Operational cost. So since there is a directly funding between the bank to bank, this is the just a transaction. Once you are certified with the bank NBFC performance, you need to just directly make a transaction. So there is a operational cost is very low in the onward lending, but on the other side, in the retail lending, there is a high operational cost because managing individual customer in volume gives you the OPEX cost. It requires your technology, it requires your manpower, branches, and many other costs are there involved in the retail lending. From the regulatory perspective, wholesale lending norms are very clean and very crisp and clear directions are given in the wholesale lending, but retail lending has a very compliance, and there are very retail lending may have customer protection act is also very actively playing the role in retail lending. So retail lending compliance and borrower protection is very important whenever we are funding to any retail customer. Examples we have already discussed. These are the type of loan which we give to banks or microfinancial institutions, but retail lending generally offers to individual customer or direct end users of the funds. So guys, these are the major differences between the onward lending and retail lending. So in my next video, I'll be discussing how onward lending happens, what are the key major parameters banks checks to fund any onward lending to any microfinance company and banking, how the eligibility criteria are there, what are the key parameters they are checking in NBFC performance or their financial or their business model or their ratings. So and how they are decide to whom to fund. So as we are doing in the retail lending, there are similar key process in the onward lending also. So stay tuned with my next video and we'll discussing on the onward lending process and their credit underwriting parameters. So guys, bye for the day. We'll meet you again.